I open my drawers and my cabinets and I am faced with a conundrum. What am I supposed to do with all of these pieces of fabric that are not quite garment size, but are also not quite useful for anything else? The solution? Make a very simple patchwork tiered gathered skirt. There's going to be some terrible audio for this section because my basement's dehumidifier is on, but I did want to talk a little bit about what fabrics I'm going to choose. I have a bunch of random little bits and bobs from various projects. I also have a bunch of extra lace. This is lace that I got for my corset years ago that I have a fair amount of. And then I have this really nice vintage lace, I think, that I got in an estate sale. The only problem is that this one, like this vintage one, is sort of an ecru color and this one is very stark white. So I'm wondering if I should dye it with tea maybe. I don't know how to dye fabric very well, so we'll see if I choose to do that, just so that they sort of go together. But I also have this cotton eyelet fabric that I got for making like detachable collars. And this one is also really stark white, so I don't know if I should dye everything to be ecru or if I should just deal with it. And there's also white in this, so maybe the issue is for this to go away and to maybe replace it with something else. Here's my sort of planning board with some of the different things. I know I want to use this. I have some of this from when I made like a 1930s style bathing suit. And I have this striped fabric from a dress that I made. I have a lot of this striped fabric. I have a whole other thing over here. I don't have a ton of this, nor do I have probably the least amount of this fabric. I'm a little bit paralyzed by indecision here, because I could do these two, I could do these two as panels, and they go pretty well together. Maybe that's what I'll do actually. And then layer of lace in between, floral, lace. Big ruffle out of this. That actually, yeah, I like that idea. Okay, so that's the plan. Sort of, these will be long enough to sort of go just past the hips and long enough to have a pocket inside. So maybe like somewhere between 6 to 8 inches long. Although I need to probably get out a roller and just measure. Probably gonna be longer than I think they should be. And then a layer of this, and then a ruffle. That'll be cute, I think. So I'm gonna go write down some measurements and write down some ideas, and I'm gonna start cutting out my panels. Ignore the Carrie can read in the background. I finished my 2 panels. Here's one of them. I think it's cute. I definitely like the sort of like mini stripes and then striped design of it all. I didn't do the most excellent job of French seaming, but all these threads will wear away eventually, so I'm not too pressed about it. I'm just going to add side pockets to these, and then I will probably add a waistband by folding down the top. So I made this little loop. It's kind of messed up in that there's two panels put together on both sides. But I think that's kind of cute, and I'm gonna stick with it just because I don't feel much of a need to unpick it. And it kind of looks intentional, so we'll say it's intentional. Pockets are in, pockets are pretty normal looking pockets. I'm just going to make the top, and then I'll have a very weird mini skirt. I'm gonna explain real quickly what I've been doing with this waistband. I used the same technique when I was working on my ski suit ankle cuffs last year, but this is just on a bigger scale. I've been sewing channels a little less than ½ an inch wide to fit my elastic. I then feed my elastic through using just a safety pin. And then sort of even out those gathers, sew down the elastic or sew the elastic shut in a loop and then close up that hole. This makes a pretty neat looking elastic waistband. It's pretty stretchy, but it looks kind of nice and neat and a little fancier than it actually is. It's just taking a very long time to get the elastic through, but we make sacrifices and we survive. Have the world's strangest mini skirt with pockets. It's raining right now and the dehumidifier in the basement needs to be running, but the second tier has been added. It's laying a little stiffly right now. I'm hoping that the weight of a third layer will help this all sort of lie in the way that I want to. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it. It's very comfortable. It's cute. It looks a little strange given the fact that it's right above the knee, which is kind of my least favorite skirt length. But I'm going to add about 7 to 8 inches of a cotton eyelet fabric as a ruffle on the very bottom, and that should hopefully both go with this little bit of lace that I have going on here and nicely finish the skirt to a reasonable midi length. I've been procrastinating on finishing the pocket edges because that's my least favorite thing to do ever. I'm still torn between doing a zigzag stitch and taking the easy way out or doing a seam binding and making it look a little bit prettier. I've been doing a lot of bound pockets lately, and I don't really want to do more, but I'm feeling it in my gut and in my heart and in my head that I should probably do the nicer, slightly longer version. I can do this. I just finished cutting every last scrap of my cotton eyelet fabric, which is good because I'm trying to get rid of things, but bad because I don't have exactly as much as I wanted. I believe I wanted to do 2.5 times the length of the previous tier for this ruffle so that it would have a little bit more space, but now that I'm thinking about that, that might be a little silly. So maybe this is a blessing. Without a seam allowance, I have 186 inches, which is more than double, so it should be okay, and it should still look good. It's a little bit shorter than I would have liked. It's gonna only be 7 inches, but hopefully I can hem them as short as possible, or hopefully I can have the smallest hem possible and just get as much length out of it as possible so that it should be at least clearing my knee, hopefully going a little bit onto the calf. I'm going to seam together all my panels of eyelet fabric. I think I'm going to do machine flat felled seams here just because I want to minimize the bulk of that eyelet fabric and it's a little bit thicker than my previous cottons. And then I'm going to hem the whole thing. I can't wait.
Temperament's wrong for the priesthood, and teaching would suit you still less. Son, be a dentist, you'll be a success.
I'm halfway through attaching the final layer. I'm doing it in 2 parts because working with gathering threads kind of stresses me out, and I'm worried that things might shift or stretch if I devote a lot of attention to the other side without one side being sewn down. So 1/2 is sewn down, I have to gather and distribute those gathers for the second half. The last thing to do, since there's already a hem on this 3rd tier, is to just flat fell that 2nd tier and then everything will be done. I haven't been working on this very much in the past couple of days because I've been doing other things, but we are really getting close to the end. I feel like I've spent a lot of time doing something that is supposed to be like a really easy beginner project. And it wasn't hard because it's just a bunch of gathered rectangles, but I don't know, like working with gathering is annoying. Working with really long lengths of fabric is annoying and stuff like that. So I'm really glad for this to be almost done. I'm really excited to see how this looks, and I'm excited to wear this all through the fall just because I think it'll look so good in like an apple orchard or going pumpkin patch picking or something. Hopefully I can get this done today. It's already 7 in the evening and I haven't eaten dinner yet, but I really don't have much else to do. So hopefully I can finish attaching everything and then flat filling. And that shouldn't really take me too long, maybe an hour max. So yeah, next time I check in, it'll be done, hopefully. And that is it. This was a pretty simple project all in all, but even though I don't particularly enjoy working with large quantities of gathered material, the end result is entirely worth it. I absolutely love this skirt and I love how it came out. It's wearable, it's comfortable, it's made completely out of things I already had. It got rid of a couple very small amount of things in my stash of fabric, and it's definitely something I'm going to be wearing all through the rest of the summer and in the fall. I think I spent this summer working on things that are slightly less technically difficult or maybe less complicated in terms of patterning. Compared to my ski suit from last year, my 1950s inspired sundress and this skirt as well are really simple pattern-wise and simple construction-wise, but I feel like that simplicity in terms of the actual garment structure and plan made focusing on the details and the finishing techniques and the measuring and just taking time to do everything well really made a difference and made probably some of the garments that I will be wearing the most in the future. Not that I don't wear things that I've made in the past or things that are a little bit more historically inspired or a little bit more elaborate, but these two projects really do feel like something I can throw on and be comfortable and also look cool in. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to watch something that I made. I will hopefully be back sometime soon, and I'll see you all later.